Hello, it's December 17th, 2020, and I'm finishing my Obtaining Happiness video with this part 2, which explains some of the happiness traps and also some of the tools used to obtain happiness. Sometimes people fall into traps because they think they're going to obtain happiness, so they go for a certain particular thing. Now, when they go for that particular thing, it ends up being something that causes a lot of dissatisfaction and also causes them to be upset because they think that obtaining this thing or becoming a certain thing or accomplishing something is going to automatically give them this happiness, and this happiness just stays with them. But as I mentioned before, happiness takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication. It's a commitment, and it's something that you have to continue to strive for and not just obtain. You don't just tell yourself that you're happy and then therefore you're happy and you go the rest of your life smiling no matter what happens to you. Circumstances do, of course, bring you down, events happen, and you have to be able to know how to handle those. Handle those in a way in which you continue to be happy, but you're not just pretending like you're in this magical state of happiness and bliss and nirvana and things like that. So one of the most biggest happiness traps that people tend to fall into, especially people that don't have money end up attaining money, is of course the happiness trap of wealth. So in the happiness trap of wealth, people feel like they'll one day be happy if they obtain wealth. And some people go to actually obtaining that wealth and finding out that this isn't true, that money doesn't actually bring them their happiness. Or they go and they try to obtain wealth. And in trying to obtain wealth itself, it becomes more discouraging because they don't actually succeed and now they have another failure on them. So it's important to know right off the bat that just obtaining wealth or having lots of money is not going to directly bring happiness to your life. A, it's what you do with that money, and B, it's the fact that having money, using money, spending money, money is just a tool. It's a tool to bring more comforts, and there is a certain level of happiness that comes from breaking that poverty line. But the reality is, you can't just get a whole bunch of money and be happy. And that's been proven to us over and over again by wealthy people, and wealthy people out there that are completely miserable and all they know is to strive for money. They don't know how to actually obtain happiness. So they try to use happiness in a way in which it's tied to wealth and tied to money, not ever actually obtaining happiness. So that it's never enough with the money. They just keep piling it up, or they keep obtaining more and more possessions. And again, like I mentioned, these are just comforts and these are pleasures, which brings me to my next trap, because money in itself is a trap, thinking you need more and more money. But those just end up being numbers and decimal points in a bank account, which actually aren't even creating anything else. So you put these numbers and decimal points into your account that just sits there. It's almost abstract. It exists in a way, and it also doesn't exist in a way. Money in cash form, of course, is a tangible thing, but we don't end up having piles of money sitting right in front of us. We just have a bank account that has a number, which might as well be a video game score. You know, we're just keeping score on how much money we actually obtain. And there's nothing to that. It's just going to continue to pile up, and it's not going to bring any more money. Now, the part to that, to add to and to think about, is that when you spend the money, then you buy more pleasures. And those pleasures of items, or pleasures through items, become never enough either. You just acquire more and more material possessions. And again, Gives you some joy initially, joy, pleasure, it wears out. Pleasure in itself, part 3, the other third trap is going out and having fun all of the time. And just, whether it's drugs, sex, whatever. Continuing with pleasure, that doesn't actually bring long-term happiness either. That brings enjoyment, temporary release or temporary getaway from the pain that you might be having internally because you're unsatisfied. You enjoy yourself then, and then the enjoyment ends. And in a lot of cases, this actually overdoing it in that way makes your life so much worse because you're overwhelming yourself and you're also hitting these highs. And every high that you hit, and this comes from having different pleasures and also from drugs, all of these highs that you hit, you have to come back down. You can't stay in a high and then just get higher and higher. There's a limit there. And with highs, there's lows. With lows, there's highs. With positives, there's negatives. With negatives, there are positives. Everything. It's all connected. Every negative has a positive. They've said that in science, and it's real in happiness, in motivation, and in life. So we have to recognize that and understand that we can't just keep shooting for these ultimate highs. We have to find our middle ground too, and appreciate that, and also be able to appreciate the little things so that when you come down from these highs, you don't actually need to be in a high state. You can enjoy yourself and have happiness in a low state, because some of these people that need these highs and they need the possessions and they need all of this money are never going to be able to survive in a different environment. That's the only environment they know. And so they have to keep acquiring because they don't have the tools. So those are the happiness traps that we need to be aware of. Finding happiness through pleasure, material, money, and just trying to buy happiness in general. Now, the tools that we need to know to stay away from those few traps are learning appreciation, and appreciation ties to gratitude, of course. And we have some other tools that we can use, of course, too. For example, personal power, which is taking a responsibility in action, being responsible for your life, taking action to further your progress, of course. So furthering your progress makes you feel good and actually appreciate yourself in general. Now, appreciation, though, is appreciating yourself and others and showing gratitude. And just when you're not showing gratitude, just having gratitude. It's important to try to have gratitude every single day for at least something, no matter how small it is. Just using gratitude creates so much happiness. And some people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to be grateful for things. They've either been spoiled their whole lives, or they just, in general, aren't grateful for things. That's just how they operate. They just might feel entitled, or they just simply are too self-absorbent, and they aren't aware of the way that they're actually acting. So using gratitude and then choice, of course, being able to have freedom of choice to go out there and make choices and design your own life, design your own personal life, and bring perspective to the way that you see things is going to create a lot of happiness in your life too. So those are some great ways to actually fight against some of these traps and to just not get stuck, not appreciating things, not showing gratitude, and not designing your life the way that you want it to be. That's why choice is power. Making choices for your own life, setting goals, accomplishing things can bring on so much happiness and inner joy in your life that you can totally avoid these other happiness traps, because that's actually what marketing does in this world. Is it shows us something, and advertising, and it shows us something and says, oh, well, look at this. And the way that you look at it tells you, like, oh, if I obtain that, I'm going to be happy. but it's simply not the truth. You're not even going to be happy after that day. You're going to enjoy it that day, and no matter what it is, you're going to enjoy it that day. It could be a brand new car. I mean, people that are driving like brand new cars, like brand new Mercedes, compared to somebody driving like an older Honda Civic or something like that, are not necessarily happy in any which way. So we have to recognize that. We have to understand that people could have millions of dollars and people could have thousands of dollars. And I guarantee you the people that have thousands of dollars can definitely be happier than the people with millions of dollars. There's plenty of examples out there of people, I'm not going to say any direct examples, but you can all think of some in your own brains of people that are miserable no matter how much money they got. And even people that have accomplished a lot, have reached some of the goals, if they don't have another goal to go to or another step to go to, they start to be unhappy too, because they're like, is that all there is? So we have to put goal upon goal. We have to appreciate things. And we in general, just have to show gratitude to the world, to ourselves and to others, and just our surroundings. And so if we can do those things and avoid the traps, we're going to be able to obtain a lot more happiness in our life. So I hope this video has been has been helpful. And of course, if you haven't actually seen part 1, go back and review that, and it'll explain everything about what I was going over today as well. Thank you so much, and keep watching my videos in the future. Have a great day.